Have you ever written a plugin that you never wanted to see again? I certainly have, and in this video, I'm gonna show you 5 of those plugins. The 5th project is actually from a video on this channel that's really popular, so stick around if you wanna see what that is and why I don't like it. Let's start with project number 1. This is the first plugin I ever wrote. I wrote this on Halloween in 2014. This is the first day that I started writing code. It's a simple plugin with one command called meow that just plays the cat purr sound and adds a flame particle effect into the world. Now, I actually don't have any complaints about this. The code is relatively solid. The only problem I have is that it's my first plugin and it just does absolutely nothing. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about programming. You can see my package was named example. I had this thing called Paradox Net World in here. I really didn't know what I was doing. This second project is so old I had to update the project to get it to run on the server. You can see it gives me a bunch of cool items here, like the network menu or the rank list, and you can actually click on some of these items to open up a menu. The teleport bow is also really cool. I can shoot the arrow, and whenever it lands, it teleports me to that new spot. The plugin might look cool, but the code for it is so bad. It's over 500 lines of code long in a single file, and it doesn't even 100% work. You can see it is such a mess. Everything is super out of order and unorganized. Another problem is I'm using the color code char directly. If you're doing this in your project, stop doing it. It is so bad. If you ever try sharing your code with other people, you're gonna run into a bunch of issues, and if the character ever changes, you're gonna have a bunch of trouble and your colors will all stop working. It's a billion times better to use the translate alternate color codes method provided by ChatColor. Next up, this is the first time I ever made a big plugin in Minecraft. You can see it has a bunch of unorganized files in the sidebar. There's a whole bunch of weird code about scoreboards here, again using that raw ChatColor code. I copied and pasted a bunch of code here when I could have just done some simple division, and this would have been much easier with about 5 lines of code rather than oh my gosh, that's a lot more than I thought. Instead of canceling the food level change event, I just gave every single player a bunch of saturation. And don't even get me started on these commands. The formatting for them is so bad. There's a bunch of spaces in here. I don't even think I need to say any more about why this is not a good plugin. As I'm looking at all this old code, I've decided I'm gonna make a video about what mistakes you should try and avoid when writing your plugin. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss that when it comes out. All right, let's take a look at the 4th project I wish I could forget. I wrote this plugin back when I hosted UHC events with a few friends. It's not as complicated as plugin number 3, but I just found it kind of interesting because my code style got a little bit better using chat colors, but then I went right back to using the color code. So you can see I'm sort of evolving in the way I write my code, but it didn't get too much better until way later. I've got one command called start UHC, and all this does is call a bucket runnable that will print out whenever 20 minutes go by. This was super useful so we could track when we needed to make different episodes of this UHC on YouTube. It's a fairly simple plugin, but I still wanted to take a look at it because I used this a bunch back in the day. One thing to note here is to never use the player object in a list. Always store their UUID. This is because they could quit the game and then you're still storing a reference to that player object, which could have outdated data. So it's always good practice to use UUIDs instead of a player object. And now for the one you've been waiting for. This is project number 5. It was a project for a series that's really popular on my channel, and that series is the Skywars series. If you've subscribed to me from this series, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Now, this project is okay, and I actually put it on a server and ran it. It has a lot of really good ideas, but in terms of structure, it is super badly organized. The biggest problem with this project is that it has no concept of true state management. Nowadays, when I make a project like this, I'll create a class called game state, and then I'll make subclasses on those classes that represent individual game states like lobby, waiting, playing, or ended. Then you can take the state classes, make them listeners, and from there you can now listen for events based on a specific state. In my case, I didn't do this, and I have all of these individual listeners here broken out that just talk to the game manager, and that's not super great. The other problem here is I'm using a singleton everywhere to access my game for a specific player. Try your best to avoid singletons wherever you can unless you really know what you're doing and why you need it. Otherwise, dependency injection, where you have a little variable that is required to create an instance of your class, oftentimes it's the best way to structure your code, especially as you're starting out and trying to learn Java. Again, you can see I'm still duplicating code here. There's a bunch of other problems with it too, but you can see that my style has really evolved over the last 7 or 8 years almost of writing code. And that was project number 5. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to see another video about why you should stop using the Spigot scoreboard API, you can go ahead and click over here.